Welcome back. I hope everyone has had a great and productive day. For those of you who are new to the channel and you like our content, click the subscribe button to get notifications on live stream and videos. For those who have been with the channel, if you would like to support the channel to help us grow, the Cash App is in the links section of the channel page. Today we have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Today I'm losing my voice some, so I'm having to utilize assistance throughout the video, but love being able to interact, so I'm doing my best. We are going to cover the Richard Allen trial day 13, starting with the audio in case those who are new have not heard the audio recorded on Libby's phone prior to the homicide of Libby and Abby.
Downhill. Guys.
Okay, it is 9 a.m. Court session begins day 13 of the Delphi trial. At 9 a.m. At 9:01 a.m., the jury entered the courtroom and court is back in session. Judge Gold tells the defense attorney that Brad Rossi that they will chat about his motion that he's filed on transports during the lunch break. Gold says the jury has once again had supervised contact with their electronic devices. The defense calls Christopher Goatee, and the state immediately calls for a sidebar. The last 9 minutes was sidebar. For those of you who don't know, sidebar is whenever the attorneys pull the judge to the side to have a confidential conversation about something regarding the trial that they don't want to be mentioned in front of the jury, or that cannot be mentioned in front of the jury. Goatee tells the jury that he is a Hammond, Indianapolis police officer, has background as an EMT. He says he has training in interviewing witnesses and suspects. Defense attorney Jennifer Auger asked him about the importance of correctly documenting interviews, and Goatee says he was an FBI Gang Response Task Force, or GRIT. They focused on kidnappings, and Goatee tells the jury that Grit assists with the Delphi investigation by canvassing neighborhoods. He conducted interviews, and he says that he worked on the investigation for over a week. Goatee says he spoke to Brad Weber during the investigation, and for those of you who can't remember, Auger asked Goatee what an FBI 302 is. Goatee says it is a report from an interview that Auger shows him an exhibit, which is an FBI 302 report from his interview with Weber. Goatee says he spoke to Weber on February 19, 2017, and he tells the jury that he doesn't know what Weber said. Despite looking at his own report, Auger finishes her questions, and the state does not cross-examine. At 9:27 a.m., the defense calls Dr. Deanna Dwinger. Dwinger tells the jury that she oversees the Department of Behavioral Health at the Indiana Department of Corrections, and she says she has been director of the department since 2021. She says that her main job is to oversee the IDOC's contracts with the contractor who actually does the employing for the IDOC's behavioral staff. She tells the jury that she generally shows who Richard Allen is, and she confirms that Allen was transferred out of the Westville Correctional Facility. She says the solitary units at Westville and the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility are similar. She says that she has not personally met Allen and did not make the decision to move him and does not know who did. Dwinger says that Dr. Monica Walla, the assigned psychologist for Allen, told her after she was assigned to Allen that she had a special interest. Dwinger tells the jury that Walla told her about listening to Delphi podcast and recommended it to her in early 2023. Now, a side note, Allen went to Westville at the end of 2022. And where they're kind of getting at here is his psychiatrist that was supposed to be the one overseeing his behavioral, his behavior and all those things. She actually found an interest in his case and had been looking up podcasts and getting involved in these things on the side, which is generally a no-no in this, especially in this circumstances. Dwinger says that she knew that Walla had visited the Munnin High Bridge, that says it was before being assigned to Allen. Winger tells the jury that she thought it was unusual to visit the crime scene as someone that you work with, but said that Walla talked to her direct supervisor about the issue more. The state requests another sidebar about the use of the words crime scene. Winger tells the jury she is familiar with Dr. Martin and that he is a psychiatrist and administers medication. She says Dr. Martin is no longer working at the IDOC. She says Alan was assessed in Indianapolis and was assigned a D code in mental health. She explains that a D code means a person that would benefit from a specific and personal therapy treatment plan. Winger tells the jury she doesn't know if there's ever been safekeepers in either Westville or Wabash Valley. She says that she doesn't know why he was assigned there. And she says that she knew there was video cameras in his cell and that worried her. She said she'd recommend the video be removed, but it didn't happen. Winger tells the jury that solitary confinement can affect mental health greatly. And if you don't have mental problems going in, you're definitely going to have mental problems going out, because solitary confinement will drive you crazy. So I can't imagine him being in there for months. And that is not unreasonable to think being in solitary confinement would have a negative impact over time. She says 30 or more days of solitary happens only if the inmate is severely mentally ill. She tells the jury the 30-day rule exists to keep people from being in there too long. Winger tells the jury that Alan was gravely disabled. She stated that she explained the difference between mental health monitoring and mental health treatment. She says that treatment is more focused on actual therapeutics. She says that the therapeutic setting at Westville was not ideal, and Winger confirms that she was on a team that discussed Alan's care. Though was not directly treating him, she described herself as a sounding board. For those of you who were the state's request, another sidebar after Rosie asked Winger about solitary confinement for mentally ill patients. So it seems as though she was concerned about his well-being and his treatment at this facility. At 9:56, Rosie ends his questioning, and prosecution attorney Stacy Dinger begins her cross-examination. Winger confirms that Alan was not severely mentally ill and began to decompensate until he was in the Westfield Correctional Unit. She says that he was first contacted about Alan in April of 2023. She says that when his core team was formed, the first contact she describes was coming from Dr. Walla, which is the psychiatrist that she's talking about that was so fascinated with the case from the beginning. So Dr. Wallen was asking if Alan could have a meeting with his wife. Winger tells the jury that at that point, Walla told her that Alan was faking it. Winger tells the jury the team was called an MDT, a multidisciplinary team. She explains that gravely ill means you aren't able to take care of yourself. She says it got to the point to where it didn't matter if he was faking it and someone needed to intervene. And another thing just to note about his mental health, and this is very important because this could be the reason why he's confessed, only because he's going through delusions. He was on Haldol, which is known notoriously for making people have delusions, delusional thoughts, and this medication is very dangerous. So you have to remember that despite all the egregious confession, interviewing, he continued to say that he was innocent. It was not until he started receiving this type of treatment that he began to confess and think that maybe he did do it. And he even stated, maybe I did, I don't know. He was having these delusional thoughts. He spent 13 months in solitary confinement, which is very unheard of. And when they say that serious mental inmates are the ones that with serious mental illness would go in solitary confinement, we're talking about people that are completely no longer in the right state of mind is who they're referring to, not someone such as himself.
She explains the difference between mental health monitoring and mental health treatment. She says treatment is more focused on actual therapeutics.
2023,
she says that the therapeutic setting at Westville was not ideal.
Into this facility, he was not
Dwinger
diagnosed
confirmed
with
she
any
was on
type
a
of
team that discussed Alan's care, though was not directly treating
why they
him.
put him in,
She described
directly put
herself
him
as
in
a
solitary
sounding
confinement,
board for
it's
those who
unheard
were.
of and unknown.
The state
Why-
requests
what
another
reason
sidebar
was
after
it?
Rosie asks
You know,
Dwenger about solitary confinement for mentally
but
ill
they did,
patients.
and it wasn't
At
until
9:56,
around
Rosie ends
April
his questioning,
2023
and
that he was even
prosecution attorney
diagnosed with
Stacey
any
Diener
issues
begins her
to begin with, and
cross-examination
it was
of
definitely
Dwenger.
not a serious mental illness.
Dwenger confirms